it's like Cyber Monday is like a microcosm of the whole thing that takes place over the course of November, actually, which is you're holding from an efficiency standpoint and even a revenue volume standpoint. The day looks rough for most of the day, and then you hit that mid-afternoon, early evening hour, and you see that bump and that increase. And if you don't hold the volume, if you don't hold down, you're going to leave demand on the table. And Cyber Monday is like the microcosm of like what Tony's talking about for the month of November as a whole, which is we have forecasts, we have a target, we're pushing towards the volume expectation for the month, and we know that's going to be realized in the last few days of the month.
This episode is brought to you by Fermat. Whether you're running paid ads on Meta, Google, or TikTok, Fermat can help you increase your conversion rates without touching your website. They help you save time by generating high-converting landing pages in minutes using AI and boost your ROI growth with built-in A/B testing and real-time optimization. Fermat offers seamless integration with your ad platforms and Shopify checkout, so you can create custom post-click experiences without designers or developers. Over 500 brands have scaled their e-commerce business with Fermat, improving their conversion rates by an average of 30%. Go to Fermat.com/CTC today and sign up for your exclusive 7-day trial. That's FERMAT.com/CTC. All right, welcome folks to the DTC Hotline. This is your direct connection to hot takes, to cold truths, to real e-comm advice from the best in the biz. I'm your host, Richard Gaffin. Call or text 866-DTC-2263 to get your burning e-comm question answered. Again, that's 866-382-2263. You can leave us a voicemail. You can shoot us a text. Ask us whatever is on your mind DTC-wise. Our operators are standing by. And speaking of which, we got both of our operators here coming in live from CTC Studios in Costa Mesa, California. We have Luke, the weatherman, Austin. Luke, what's going on, man?
It's stormy out there, early November. A lot of anticipation heading into the back half. Yeah, figuratively. The weather's great. The weather's great.
Okay. Yeah, you're talking about work stuff. I looked outside and I was like,
the inside, on the inside, that's what we're all feeling. Right. Ramping up into the BFCM anticipation.
Right, of course. And then, of course, we have Mr. Tony Chop the Chopper himself, who's our VP of Paid Media here at ComThread. Tony, what's going on, man?
Nice to see you both. I thought Luke was talking about actual outside weather.
Yeah.
I looked outside. It's not stormy. Southern California 70s, but yeah, it is a little bit.
Yeah, so it's gorgeous.
The marine layer was
BFCM,
the marine layer
sure.
was pretty heavy this morning. So yeah, that we had to deal with that a little bit.
Okay, so that's bad weather for Southern California. Okay, so it's stormy outside and it's stormy inside in our hearts right now as we approach BFCM. So here's how this works. We get questions from our listeners, we get questions from our admission members, and we ask them to these two experts. And obviously, because the storm of Black Friday, Cyber Monday is, as we record this, a mere 2.5 weeks away, let's say, maybe 3, if we want to feel generous to ourselves. So it's coming right down the pike. And so obviously we have questions around BFCM. So I'm just going to get straight into them. The first one I thought was kind of an interesting one from an admission member, which was, how do you all suggest I think about performance in these couple of weeks leading up to Black Friday, Cyber Monday? What are you guys looking for in terms of efficiency in your Meta Ads account? And to give a little bit of extra context, he's also asking around questions about, is Black Friday, Cyber Monday coming early this year? Should I be running more stuff right now? But so the general question then is, how do we think about performance in these weeks leading up to BFCM?
So this is like an interesting question. We've been tangling with this recently, and I think there's a couple of things that are popping out for me that I think are pretty interesting. So the first thing that we've been doing for our accounts is comparing the difference between sales reported in the 7-day click window, and Meta brought back the ability to look at reporting in a 28-day click window. So it's kind of annoying. You can only get to it in the ads UI. You can't get to it in the reporting or anything else. So it's a bit manual to sort of tease the data out. But what we've been doing is looking at all of our various accounts and looking at the difference between the conversion value that's reported in a 7-day window and then conversion value that's reported in a 28-day window. And the difference between those two is essentially the value of the conversion from day 8 to 28. Okay, so it's the total pie. what we found is a pretty interesting pattern that makes a lot of sense. So for the most part, if you wanted to use a heuristic, approximately 80% of the value is captured within that 7-day click window. And approximately 20% of the total value is going to be captured in that 28-day window. What's interesting about this is we have this other heuristic that we use when we're talking about incrementality measurement. And when we measure the incrementality on a Meta campaign, a 7-day click campaign, we get this reading of 120%. So let me try to say this without confusing the crap out of everybody. These are two sides to the same coin, right? If we look at the ads reporting in the account on 7-day click, and we think we're capturing 80% of the value, the flip side of that coin is if we look at the incrementality measure for that type of campaign and we say it's 120% incremental, those two things are like same, but different, right? So one way is looking at it. It's confusing to talk about. This is a bad podcast. I'm going to get my language better, but they're essentially the same idea. So what happens for us is like when we're buying media on Meta, we're factoring in that incrementality percentage to our target setting. So one way to say it is we're sort of already accounting. Okay. So if you're not using incrementality to set your targets, then a simple thing for you to go do is to look at the difference between the conversion value from a 7-day click window and a 28-day click window, understand the difference between those two, and use that to adjust your targets down, right? And that's effectively you're kind of doing a little bit of incrementality. You're not doing really incrementality testing, but you're arriving at a similar conclusion that we do. Now, the other thing that's popped out of this analysis is that lag is even more pronounced during this moment in time, as one might expect. So we've seen that lag in some of the accounts that we've analyzed shift by 5, 10%, sometimes even up to 15%. All that to say, what you want to do is get a good understanding of the baseline of how your account behaves between 7 and 28-day click. And then you could even look at what happened last year for Black Friday. All of this in service of you have an opportunity to potentially be more aggressive with your targets for the next 18 days leading into this moment where a lot of the conversion value is actually going to be captured over the weekend. But Luke, I'd be curious what your thoughts are.
Yeah, we even a conversation earlier today as we're looking at month-to-date pacing, looking at every contribution margin, revenue, ad spend, etc. That's what a lot of this boils down to right now is anticipating the big spike of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and not holding back on the volume aggressiveness leading up into it. It's like Cyber Monday is like a microcosm of the whole thing that takes place over the course of November, actually, which is you're holding from an efficiency standpoint and even a revenue volume standpoint. The day looks rough for most of the day, and then you hit that mid-afternoon, early evening hour, and you see that bump and that increase. And if you don't hold the volume, if you don't hold down, you're going to leave demand on the table. And Cyber Monday is like the microcosm of like what Tony's talking about for the month of November as a whole, which is we have forecasts, we have a target, we're pushing towards the volume expectation for the month, and we know that's going to be realized in the last few days of the month. And so everything that Tony's talking about is sort of like we need to know what the edge is, right? Like what that is. It the 5%, is the 10%, is the 20% increase in delayed attribution? What is that number so that we can push all the way there, because our month depends on us doing that right now. Every day that we don't do that right now, we're going to leave demand on the table in the future. So getting clarity on that relationship for each individual business, understanding what the delayed attribution effect is, understanding what the flow of the revenue is over the course of the days of November, just like we do it by hour for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, to get to the level of confidence to hold the line throughout the month on these days leading up to it is the most crucial thing, because what'll happen is it'll be most natural to orient every day's behavior and conversations around efficiency isn't looking good. This looks like it's off. Let's pull back. Should we adjust our plan? Should we rethink November as a whole actually now? Should we? And like you can do that spiral really easily if you don't have the context and clarity on these metrics for the full month. So everything's downstream from that. Getting clarity on what that looks like for your business, I think it's paramount. So you can spend the time focusing on other things. Make twice as many ads for Black Friday than you were planning to, right? Rather than spending the 2 hours sort of death spiraling against, should we throw our whole November plan out the window?
Still sending people from email, SMS, or direct mail to the same old product pages? It's time to level up with Fermat's AI landing page and PDP builder. In just minutes, you can spin up personalized landing pages and PDPs for every channel, from email campaigns to QR codes and direct mail to paid ads. No designer, no developer, no waiting around. And that's just the start. With Fermat, you can A/B test every funnel, customize experiences by audience, and track performance across all your channels, all in one sleek dashboard. Now here's the kicker. Most people think Fermat is just for ads, but actually 80% of our customers use it in email, direct mail, and every place they need a landing page that works harder. Try it yourself, free for 7 days. Head to fermat.com/CTC or just click the first link in the description. Yeah. So I was going to so essentially to kind of combine what you two are saying, it's sort of, this is an opportunity to understand, if I'm understanding you correctly, Tony, this is an opportunity for you to understand what delayed attribution looks like, to run this sort of pseudo incrementality test so that you have the data you need to reassure yourself that you don't need to pull back on spend in these next couple of weeks. So because I have some understanding of what delayed attribution looks like through and as you test it sort of through the holiday period, you're going to have a better sense of why you shouldn't be pulling back in a poor efficiency day. Maybe I'm just trying to reframe what I heard, but maybe tease that out a little more.
No, you got it. I think I actually think you nailed it. So in part of the nuance of this conversation is how Meta reports conversion value, and Meta reports conversion value at the time of the conversion as opposed to the time of the click. So basically a significant amount of the media investment that you're making right now is going to convert on Black Friday and Cyber Monday.
Right.
And that pattern is sort of always present. If you do this analysis and you look at the difference between 7-day and 28-day click conversion value, you're going to see that pattern is kind of always present, but that pattern is even more present during this moment in time. And you have an opportunity to go look at it in your own ad account to see what's the normal pattern? Is it 85-15? Is it 80-20? And what did Black Friday, Cyber Monday look like last year? All of that leading to what Luke's talking about, and Richard, effectively what you said, which is, does data give us confidence to hold the line at this moment in time, knowing that the conversion value, a large chunk of the conversion value is going to show up in this really tight window?
Okay. Well, I think that makes sense. I think in summary, the idea here is hold the line. Efficiency is not going to look good right now. It's going to look incredible at the end of the month. That's always how it goes. And I think one of the refrains of all Black Friday, Cyber Monday content that we've ever made in the last 5-6 years that I've been doing this, at least, is that Black Friday always works. It always functions basically the same way. And so this is the opportunity, or the moment this year, like every year, you need to be holding the line in the same way that you were last year and the year before. That sort of thing.
Well, I was just thinking, I'm trying to think of if I have any anecdotal experiences from my last 6 or 7 years doing this of oh man, we actually invested too much in November. And I can't think of any off the top of my head, but that's pretty anecdotal. But I think that's the spirit of what we're getting at here, where it feels tricky. Get smart with your math, get smart with your data, get smart with your investment. This isn't a mandate to go burn a bunch of dollars really, really stupidly, but it is a mandate to go and get yourself oriented to your analytics to get the confidence to hold the investment.
That's right.
All right. And the only anecdote I have actually, as you say that to me, I was thinking, and it's overinvestment or not executing well against the plan as a result of needing to catch up dramatically because of not doing this. I can recall a few where it's Black Friday at 5 PST or 6 PST. And as we know, Black Friday is the morning's bigger, right, into midday than the evening hours. And the opportunity was underspent. There wasn't enough volume. There weren't enough campaign plans, et cetera. And so it's like, oh, the morning was so good. Let's pummel spend. And then it's, you have a lot more spend in the back half of the day, a lot lower efficiency. And you just missed it as a result of needing to play catch up because you didn't index as heavily early on as you needed to, which is, I think, Richard, kind of what we're all saying, right? Is like, make sure you don't leave the volume on the table early on, because playing catch up is so challenging. And that's when you'll look back and think, we left opportunity on the table. Then we try to play catch up, and it doesn't work that way.
That makes sense. All right. A
Yeah,
good recipe.
You're planting the seeds right now, like right now,
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
You're planting.
That's right. I was going to say, this is a good formula, a recipe for a regret-free Black Friday Cyberpunk. So make sure you're in it right now. Okay, cool. So then segue on one other question here, because last week we kind of covered some Black Friday, like Meta 101 was kind of like what we talked about. This time what we want to talk about is this question, which is, do you guys have any guidelines or rules for Black Friday, Cyber Monday offer design? Now, we've spoken around this before a little bit, but let's talk about some of the sort of core rules we have when we think about what offer structures maybe we suggest to clients during this time.
Simple, site-wide.
Give me another S, Luke.
Yeah,
I know. I was trying to find it. I was trying to find the third S. Simple, site-wide.
Stacking.
Stacked. There you go.
Stacking. Yeah, stacking is interesting.
Because I'm just kind of like coming off of like the consumer expects the biggest discount on Cyber Monday.
Ooh, Cyber Monday. That's not an S, but alliteration.
Yeah, there you go. The same
simple
sound.
site-wide Cyber Monday. And Cyber Monday indicates, yes, that the stacking, the tiering of it into Cyber Monday.
So I know in the past, Luke, we've talked a little bit about like Black Friday should be your, how do we frame this before? Black Friday should be your like splashiest deal or something, but like your best deal or your highest AOV day is going to be Cyber Monday or something like that.
Yeah.
How do you think about the offer difference there?
Yeah, I think a cool way to approach Black Friday and Cyber Monday is to think about Black Friday is going to probably be your best offer for the majority of folks, but Cyber Monday is going to be the best offer from a dollar value perspective. It is going to represent the most savings, but it may not be the like largest total addressable market offer, depending on how you structure it. So an idea of what that could look like is Black Friday, you run 30% off site wide, but Cyber Monday, you do a buy two, get one free, right? Or some version of that offer where you're actually getting a higher dollar value off, most likely, or maybe it's some BOGO with some threshold by about 50% out, whatever it is. But like you see the point, which is like your AOV is going to be higher on Monday for sure. You're going to have much larger orders, and the dollar value that folks are going to get off is going to be higher because they're checking out with higher cards than they're getting. But will the majority of folks actually check out with 3 or 5 or 10 year items? The majority is probably looking for that 1 or 2 things and that 30% off. But you're going to get at sort of like a different pocket of the market in that way. And tying to Tony's point, like there's an anticipation on something new on Cyber Monday, right? The sort of like the urgency tied to it, as well as the offer dynamic changing. So whether that's an additional free gift that you put into your purchase, a different offer tier that gets unlocked, or just a different offer structure completely. I like the idea of this, like we're building throughout with urgency, but Black Friday, you have your offer that is like the best offer for the highest TAM. And then Cyber Monday is your best offer in terms of highest dollar value savings.
Right. Tony, thoughts?
Yeah, I really don't have anything to add, but I do have something like totally different that Taylor said last week in our monthly client meeting that I thought it struck me as like the most interesting way to answer the question of how many emails do I send, and the answer is like more, but his take was, Luke, I'm curious to hear your POV on this as well. He's like, it's real simple, send to the full list and then export a list of all the unopens and then send to them again and rinse and repeat over and over and over again. Because effectively what you're trying to do is get somebody to open an email. And if they haven't opened, then you haven't achieved. And there you go.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a really nice, like simple heuristic for how to send more emails.
Yeah. No, I think that's really smart.
I do think there's something interesting here though, which is like the simplicity of the offer is people, you want to reduce the mental calories that it takes someone to digest sort of what the offer is. But there comes a point when, like, especially if you launch your offer, like there's brands launching their offer on Sunday prior to Black Friday, right? Like it's running for 5 days, their main offer. I think there is something to, if someone hasn't responded in 3 days to the same offer with the same sort of messaging, finding a different way to attack that subset of people through different messaging, framing it a different way, different products that you're sort of communicating the offer around. I think this is like, yeah, we have diverse ad creative toolkits, right? So we showed like 30% off with like this product and 30% off with product B. So it's like that probably helps. But going even a step further, like we're talking about having different offer tiers that unlock to where, like, okay, 30% off wasn't free, maybe the buy two get one free, or maybe this, like ways to, okay, we saw how that pocket responded. We saw all the people who opened the email, or we saw all the people who clicked through the email who didn't purchase, right? That we're going to actually position something different too in that way and have a sequence around. There's like the layers of thoughtfulness here are never ending, of course, and nuance for each brand. But I think the simplicity is important. Yeah, like it can't become too complicated. Where what we've seen, we all seen the 12 days of Christmas, deals where you have a new deal every day and then you launch a new campaign on Meta every single day to align with it and pause the other one. It's like they become nightmares or challenging for customers to follow along. They can be done well. I've seen some, but they typically become too overcomplicated. But like the 3 day, the 3 sequence tiers where it's like day 3, then day 6, then day 9 or whatever. Like I think there's definitely ways where the thoughtfulness to speak to customers in different ways to get at the most possible can be combined with the simplicity layer, but there has to be some connective tissue beneath it all, right? That sort of is like this is the approach, this is the offer, this is how we're doing it. And then what we're doing is we're adding on or adjusting some of those things along the way to make it more appealing for folks.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so what I was going to say is like the simplicity, the first and the second S are essentially related, right? Like the idea that a site-wide offer is the easiest thing to digest for a customer. It's just anything I go find is going to be 25% off, 20% off, whatever the case. Of course, it's like that's not always doable based on margins for various products wherever, and you have to play with that. But the idea is that at the end of the day, simplicity should be the main theme. And if you have to build away from that for certain practical reasons, that's fine. As long as like at the end of the day, you're not getting creative for the sake of getting creative. You're just like, give them a great offer and just kind of tell them as much as you possibly can about it over the course of that time. So, okay. So I think that's our 3 S's, simple, site-wide, and Cyber Monday.
Yes.
Which I guess what we're getting at is that everything should be ramping up to that. But yeah, anything else you guys want to add on this?
I hope it comes as soon as possible.
Yeah. I know, right? Can't get here soon enough. Can't be over as quickly enough. You know what I mean? That's how it goes every year. But, all right, gang. Well, I think it's time for us to take a little quick trip into Hotline Hot Take Corner. And any hot takes for me beyond that C is an S, I guess, which is the one that we've already covered.
I don't know how you get much hotter than that.
No,
C can be an S.
C can be like it.
Any other hot takes? That's a hot one. I'm not gonna lie. That's up there. Yeah, I think like here's what this isn't a hot take. This is more like me speaking to myself at this point in the month, which is great. The temptation can be, you look at a lot of people are launching their early bird sales, right? Their early offer, their early November launches at this point. And the temptation can be, okay, based on the performance of this early offer, my November, it might be, I kind of know where my November is kind of land. It's kind of baked. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's a negative thing. Maybe it's like somewhere in between. That's not the case. You can just do things, and you can do things differently. And yes, it takes effort for sure. There's tight timeline, but November is not baked. You got the majority of November left, even despite what your early access offer is telling you. The world is your oyster. Let's get it.
There you go, Tony.
Nice. I mean, yeah. Thanks, Luke. I needed that pep talk actually. The November is not cooked. It's only November 10th. What else? Hot take. Off topic slightly.
Sure.
Meta's incremental attribution product, which I'm still super excited about, is they released the opportunity to use ROAS or cost cap bidding to pair with this incrementality setting or this attribution setting. So I think it's going to be something that we're going to continue to be. I think they're going to continue to make it more and more useful, and it like connects back to our conversation before because we're talking about measuring 7-day click windows and 28-day click windows and attribution. Geo holdout incrementality studies, and I think if Meta gets this product right, where they are programmatically attributing value to conversions in a way that's really different, I think it's going to be really useful. So I encourage everyone to give it a shot and play with the new, and now you can use it with the new sort of cost control methodology. So you don't have to just burn dollars with highest volume.
Love it. So less of a hot take and more of a, hey, here's something exciting coming down the pipe, huh?
Yeah.
Something like that. All right, cool. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll leave us with my non-eComm hot take, which is that you should only be allowed to play Christmas music the week of Christmas. I'm a Scrooge in that way. Right after Thanksgiving is way too early for me, honestly. And then, of course, our designer, Paul, starts playing Christmas music like in July. So those are two extremes. But I like to, let's keep Christmas special. That's what I think. All right.
My wife is putting up the Christmas decorations tomorrow. Oh. Richard, how do you feel about that?
Ugh, I don't like that at all. Well, whatever. We'll check in next week. We'll tune in and see Tony's office. They're just absolutely decked with boughs of holly. But all right, folks, I think that's going to do it for us. Thanks again for listening, folks. So again, remember, if you want your question answered on this very podcast, you can leave us a voicemail here, 866-DTC-2263, or you can send us a text there as well. We might read your question on a subsequent episode, rather. So for Tony the Chopper Chop, for Luke the Weatherman Austin, I'm Richard the Professor Geffen. Take care, everyone. We'll talk to you next week.